Hi, welcome to Hurricane Homestead. Thanks for joining me today. We are finally back on the property. We were gone for a week down in Pensacola Beach on vacation. Had a wonderful time, got some deep sea fishing done, got some shoreline fishing done, just enjoyed the outdoors, the beach, letting the kids play in the sand and the surf, just kind of taking it low key. Ate some amazing seafood, which is always one of my favorites. And it was just a good, relaxing time, but it is so good to be back on the homestead. We've really missed it. We've missed our puppy dogs, missed our chickens, missed our garden. It's growing up like weeds, but that would be wrong. Anyways, but there's still a lot to do. We got to get the grass mowed, got to get the garden weeded a little bit. My father was able to come out and check on the chickens and water the garden while we were gone. So big thank you to him for helping us out on that. But it is one of those things that when you have a homestead, you don't get to take as much time off because it's a commitment. So we were very blessed to be able to do that this week. Then we come home, and of course there's no food in the house, so we had to run to Walmart. And a very interesting thing happened at Walmart today. We're walking up and down the aisle getting the necessary things for the next couple of days because we've got to make our big bulk item grocery shopping list for the rest of this month. But we noticed when going to look for a new tackle box for my son that all of the bicycles were gone. Well, all of the adult-sized bicycles were gone from the aisle. That's something I had never seen before in my life. I mean, I remember as a little kid, and sometimes a teenager, grabbing a bicycle and riding up and down the aisle, having a lot of fun in Walmart, and they are just gone. There are none left. It surprised me, and so when I got back home, I did a little bit of research, and apparently, because of this whole pandemic, bicycle sales have gone through the roof, and everybody is selling out. People don't want to take public transportation. People need to get somewhere, and they're going back to relying on a bicycle because either one, they don't want to spend the money on gas, traffic is too difficult to navigate, especially in a larger city like Nashville or Boston, or God forbid even trying to drive in New York would be a nightmare. But that really did surprise me that all the bicycles, I mean, there was one bicycle left on the adult or larger size bicycle aisle. Now all the toddler bikes were still there, which led me to believe that it wasn't just bicycles, but it was for a purpose. And I think that might be a sign of some of the new normal that we're dealing with. You know, what are people looking forward to, or looking the problems that they're trying to overcome in this new post-pandemic era that we're living in? One of them is transportation that's away from others. Not relying on carpooling as much, not relying on public transportation. I've got a friend of mine, close friend, that lives out here in the country but works in downtown Nashville, Tennessee. And oftentimes he'll drive to a certain location and then ride a bus from there back into Nashville. He said he's not going to be doing that anymore. So he's not sure what that looks like in the future as far as transportation for him to get all the way downtown Nashville and to work. So I have a feeling that that we're going to see a number of things that wouldn't normally be sold out, wouldn't normally be increased sales this time of year, start to disappear, and the supply chains for those things not be able to keep up with the demand that is presented. One of the things that I thought off the top of my head was lunch boxes and cooler bags. If people are going to work or starting to go back to work, they're going to have to deal with managing their lunch and managing their food on their own, because if they're not wanting to take public transportation, they're probably not going to want to go to a public place to eat and eat out, or go to a fast food restaurant and grab food there, because it becomes more difficult, puts more at risk. So lunch boxes, cooler bags, ice packs, things like that, I think are going to disappear quite quickly here once things start to reopen and people go back to work. Another thing is vehicles, especially used cars. I think that used cars prices are going to go up significantly simply because it's the summertime and people are going to ride these bikes for about 3 weeks, and then they are going to say, that's enough of that. I've got some money in my pocket. I'm going to go buy a car because this whole riding the bike is for the birds. I do believe that used car sales are going to go up significantly. It's going to be difficult to find a good used car on the market, and if you've got one that you're thinking about selling, I mean, you may hold on to it for another month or so and possibly get another couple $100 out of it, simply because the demand is going to be there. I was talking with my wife, and schools are making plans to be virtual or remote this next school year, or at least they're looking at what those plans would look like. So I think that another thing that's going to be a significant demand are computers, laptops, monitors, peripherals, printers, things that people really haven't had to buy here recently because, well, kids got their computers at school and they can do all their activities. Maybe you have a phone or a tablet device at your house, but there's not been a real demand for the need of computers and printers at your home. But I think that that's going to change significantly, especially in some of these, larger districts where school systems are not able to maintain the safety precautions needed and will be required to do at least some level of remote learning. So be on the lookout for computers, printers, monitors, other peripherals to be significantly either increased in price or difficult to find here in the near future. I think that there's a lot of things that we could look at, okay, what is the problem and what is the solution to that problem here in the future, and be able to kind of forecast and identify some of the needs that we're going to be running into. And if we can think ahead of times, and oftentimes us homesteaders, we have to do that. We have to think about, okay, what am I going to be doing next season? How is this going to affect me 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the road? Because what I'm doing now is preparing for the future. I think that a lot of other people are having to do that. We saw that with the toilet paper shortages. The reason toilet paper disappeared is because it's a shelf-stable product. People didn't know how often they would be able to get out to get toilet paper, but they knew, you know what? I can buy it right now, and I know that I'll have it, and I'll at least feel secure that I have that in case of an emergency. So I think that a lot of people are starting to prepare for the future and have that mindset and that thought process where it's not just those crazy people out there in the sticks that are preparing for things. No, it's everybody is starting to prepare. I think that's a good thing, and it's a bad thing. It's a different way of living, definitely, and puts a different level of stress on our supply chain. It puts a different level of stress on the manufacturers, especially since manufacturing has had to decrease anyways because of the increased restrictions and safety precautions, and people not able to go to work because they were sick or because they were afraid of getting sick. There is definitely a lot to think about with all this new level of safety and concern that people have, especially around this COVID and the pandemic situation that we're under. I'm encouraged because we are prepared. We are living a prepared life, and I'm glad that a lot of my friends are in the same boat and able to provide their own food, and they know how to do things like hunt and fish and grow a crop or garden for themselves. And I think that that's going to be a new way of thinking for a lot of people that maybe they had never done before. So it's interesting to watch. It's interesting to see. Definitely not something to be afraid of or scared about. And I don't know. Maybe some very good will come of it. Maybe we'll have a lot of healthier people, and obesity will not be the number one cause of sickness in this country anymore. Maybe everybody will get out on their bikes and start exercising just a little bit more and feeling a little bit better. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. It is growing better than I had ever dreamed. It really is awesome to pop on here and see all the wonderful comments and see my friends jumping in there, encouraging me, giving me ideas and recommendations, letting me know what they're doing in their gardens, the strangers that are asking questions and wanting to know a little bit more about what we're doing out here. It's just been a real encouragement, a whole lot of fun. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for supporting the channel, If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, because I've got a lot of content coming about taking care of the homestead, learning how to do all this, learning how to build it pretty much from scratch, and make a life for my wife and my kids that we can really enjoy and live to its fullest. So thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.